Oh.
There we go. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you, all of you viewers, to episode 2 of the USS Basalisk. Those of you that managed to work your way through that ridiculous 4-hour-long pilot episode have met some of these characters already. We open this evening's episode with Lieutenant Commander Rosewood and Commander Salvador are in the general purpose room on board the Basilisk. The general purpose room where the holodeck would be if it had not been so forcefully and so evilly removed.
So I guess we're just, the two of us are just
Ben
sparring
and
back and
Caleb,
forth?
this is you.
So yeah. So...
Okay. Well, Rose has got longsword training, so he's going to be using a longsword. I'm assuming there's some sort of generic fencing pads that everyone's wearing.
Yeah.
I say everyone. It's too much.
Everyone. No, it's required. And then I have some sort of like a
Captain
fencing,
says so.
like a falchion or something like that in my hand.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess we're sparring back and forth, you know. Ha-ha!
Yeah. Very Errol Flynn, but with less flair and more manliness.
Yes. So I strike at you and I go, "Is that all you get? Is that all you have?"
Rose would just out of the short sword. Takes a couple of steps back and just rubs his forehead as if he's trying to clear his head.
I look, I don't know, disappointed? Not like sad, but like, you know, you're off your game, and I guess we've fenced before.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, come on, you know, come on, man, what's the problem?
Rose will just lower the sword, look at you, and go. Having your first command against not just one but two Borg cubes kind of takes it out of you for a while.
I can see that.
Also, with the entire command crew standing behind you, watching over your shoulder, just in case you screw up and kill everybody on the ship. No pressure at all, really.
Yeah, but I guess on the upside, if you do kill everybody, no one's going to be able to judge you.
This is true. Unfortunately, as far as I know, nobody died.
Well, come on, don't, you know, I thought this was recreational for you.
It's helping me clear my head, yes. And at that point, he'll raise the longsword into a roof guard and take a few steps forward and just bring it down in a vertical cut.
Okay, so, yeah, it hits me. Like, ah!
Alright, as we switch scenes, we see that Lieutenant Commander Nar is making his...
Oh no, we lost the boss.
Alright, he's not here. Quickly, someone take over the ship. We're flying it over to the Guardian forever.
Wait for it. There he is.
There we go.
Yay, glitches.
Yay!
Okay, as I was saying before I was interrupted, as we switch scenes, we see Commander Nar is walking to the bridge down through one of the many corridors on board the Basalisk. We hear his voice in an actual voice over that appears to be talking to you, whereas Nar's physical voice mouse is silent, but we hear his voice giving the captain's log.
Captain's log. Stardate 2014, Mark 249. We're currently in transit to the Hale Centauri starbase to alert and advise Federation higher-ups on the current Borg situation. We are joined by our beta crew as a number of the main crew are off vessel dealing with personal issues. Commander Ilona is on shore leave following the previous Death Laser incident with the Borg encounter near Beta Z.
The voiceover stops as we see that that Commander Nar steps onto the bridge, and you hear a loud, boisterous female voice. Captain on the bridge!
Her rank? Will?
She is an ensign.
Thank you, Ensign. Everyone at
Ensign.
ease. Alright.
Nar as Nar steps to the middle of the bridge, he takes his seat there in the captain's chair.
Okay, everyone. Catch me up. What's happened recently? Anything important?
Well, sir, you are aware of the only thing that really has occurred in the last couple of days is, as we were leaving the Beta Z sector, we had ran into a couple of anomalies. Engineering and science both checked them out. They both checked out okay. We're able to extract a sample that's sitting in science right now waiting for experiments. Other than that, everything seems to be going smoothly. And Commander Salvador and Commander Rosewood, last I heard, are down in the multi-purpose room sparring. Toral is around somewhere. I haven't seen him today, sir. And as Hawk is at the helm as always, and Basalisk has been a little. Her eyes begin to shift off.
Steps over to the ensign and leans in. When is she not off?
I know, sir, but this one's a little. She's just unusually.
Basilisk. Friendly.
Everything appears to be going according to plan, Captain.
Ah. Excellent, Basilisk. Thank you. Huh. Noted, Ensign. Thank you. He steps back over to his chair. Sits down.
You see
Let's see.
number of various reports get passed over to you. Basically updates on how the ship is doing, performance updates, logs that they have found, a variety of different. Everything checks out okay so far. And there an agenda for this meeting that you're supposed to be having at Starbase. And you also see a note that that Commander Gray should be on board at some point during this exercise. Commander Gray, you're the other guy in command. You know him.
Ah, okay. All right. Let's see.
Also of note, Captain Baker is also off vessel on shore leave herself.
Okay. All right. Who else is on the bridge besides the ensign?
Just various workers. Nobody of actual. No one of actual rank is on in the bridge right this minute. It's all looks like the bridge officers all put their NCOs to work for the moment. Then other than our Ferengi pilot who's always there. I swear the guy never leaves.
Nar pulls out a pad out his pad that he always carries with him and looks at it. Looks at the helmsman. Let's see, that was Hawk, right? That was the name, Hawk? Ensign Hawk? Out of game question.
Yeah.
Okay, Hawk.
Yep.
I'm gonna check on the rest of the crew.
Yes, Captain.
I'm gonna check on the rest of the crew and make sure that everything's okay. Especially the two that are apparently sparring. I'm gonna make sure that they're okay. Haven't seen them in a while. Bridge is yours for a while till I get back. Keep me informed of anything special. Okay?
Are you giving control of the bridge to the ensign, Captain?
He's turning. Yes, he is.
Noted.
And he leans in. He actually walks over to the helm, leans in. Don't do anything stupid, okay? It just winks at him and stands back up. Okay, and the helmsman apparently turns to Nar and says, "Of course, the captain," and smiles. Okay. He steps out and goes looking for the ones that are sparring.
So I guess it goes back to us continuing to spar.
I would assume so.
Aha! So I guess it goes back to after you hit me with your sword. I go, ah!
He
Bastardo!
steps through the door. He steps through the door and watches. So from here, he hears everything.
So
But
you're a lot of...
he's trying to keep a low profile because, you know, he doesn't want everybody to go, "Oh!"
Yeah, so you hear a lot of cursing in Spanish.
Okay.
Rose's just got this wry grin on his face. Doing a lot of moving back and forth, trying to stay out of reach of the short sword. Just basically taking advantage of his reach.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what he's doing, basically.
Mm-hmm. Oh, at the cursing, Nar will I just smile.
I look over, my apologies, Captain.
I'm Commander. Actually, I'm Tunos here. Calm down. Okay. Not bad, guys. Not bad. I'm not a swordsman myself, so I actually envy you being able to do that. That's actually pretty good. It helps when, and he pulls out the phaser he always carries, when this happens to go on the fritz, and he puts it back.
So it's always handy to be to know what you're doing when things get a little bit close and bloody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind learning a thing or two.
All right. You gentlemen see. You gentlemen see that two NCOs appear to be a pair of master sergeants, or in this case, chief petty officers. I'm sorry, forgot his naval rank. They step into the room, and you see that one of them is carrying a tray. He sets it down on a side table there in the room, and he turns towards you gentlemen. Either you gentlemen care for a beverage.
Oh, see.
What are we having, Chief?
Well, I brought the water container, but we can
Ah,
replicate it. We can replicate whatever you need.
it's all right. I'm fine, but looks like these gentlemen were having a sparring match. They might need something.
Rose is going to look at Juan and go, we've been fighting back and forth for a while. I think a break is warranted.
Oh, see, a respite would be nice.
Oh, by the way, Commander, and as he turns to you, Salvador, you now recognize who it is. It's one of the NCOs that works in the science department. By the way, Commander, those experiments that you had ordered on that sample that we drew a couple days ago already.
Oh, okay. I'll head down to the laboratory as soon as possible.
All right. Anyone else going to head down with him?
Nara's interested in the sample. He'll go with.
I have no idea what the samples are, so I'm not going to bother.
This is of the entity, right?
Yes, this is the entity.
Okay. Yeah, very
Correct.
interested.
Would I know that?
Probably not, but it would help to know at least what's going on. You're tactical. It's good to know about your ship all the time.
Okay.
Right? It's good to know what's going on board all the time. You never know when a threat can come up.
Okay. Well, I'll.
All right.
Actually,
So
yeah. I'll
as you
head
guys
just for curiosity's sake.
head out of the as you get. Okay. So as you guys head out of the GP room, you walk for probably what feels like maybe about 5 minutes, and the familiar face of our resident Cardassian, he doesn't appear to be in any real hurry. Just appears to be going about his business.
I'm assuming I've come from working on this data.
Yes. Yes.
Squirrel. How's the investigation going?
Well enough. We've learnt about as much as I think we can. Science Bay on the Basalisk.
Well, let's see what you have so far. We may need to move this onto shore, but we'll look at what you have so far.
Yeah, he's going to fall into step and continue on back towards the Science Bay.
Okay.
Follow behind him.
All right. And as you guys get there, you notice that Toral hands to Salvador. And what this document details is a variety of different things, including an idea of the percentages of what elements and materials were in the sample. But what really stands out is it has an extremely high level of an element that you're
Oh, please don't tell me he crashed again.
It sounds like it, yes. Yes.
God
You did.
damn it, Will.
Ah.
Well, it's not his fault, but oh, there you go. He's back.
Google doesn't like it today.
Live!
We didn't leave an offering at the shrine of the Google.
Sacrifice a small child to the gods of Google. And we shall forever be known as Googleites.
All right. My apologies. All right. Salvador, the report shows that, and this is actually highlighted with an actual highlighter, a mineral called triathulum. Roughly a little over 90%.
Odd. I informed those who are with me. Have any of you ever heard of triathulum?
None of you
I
have.
can't say that I have.
I'm assuming because the science officer is.
What's triathlon? Can I
Yeah,
just look it
totally.
up in the ship system and just give them a little readout
Yes, you
of
can try.
the specifics of that if we can?
It's typically a very extremely rare mineral. Usually, it's mined for sustenance purposes, but it's unusual for it to have been in the quadrant that it was found in.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll log this in my. I'll check over the whole thing and fill out my report in total, and I'll have that logged away in the file. So if the science man wants to check it out even further, he can go ahead and do that. But overall, I'm just taken aback. Just very odd.
So Basilisk has shown that, or has told us what
Yes.
it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And Tor can probably explain it simpler if you need it.
Yep, you're getting a very literal version. God, Basilisk loves Wikipedia.
And yeah. All right. No, and Nar, just something's telling you. Your own internal sense of navigation is telling you that you guys should be pretty close to the starbase by now.
Mm-hmm. Gnarl, look at his pad.
And you actually get the message.
Okay. All right. Looks like we're getting close to home. Okay. Everybody, bridge. He points to Toral. You're done with your investigation, right?
It's much best to do with the slightly inadequate science station on Basilisk.
Understood. Bridge. All right, people. Let's go.
I'm going to take a detour back course so I can get into uniform.
All right. And with this, we roll into our opening credits. And when we get this recorded, or when this gets finally recorded, I'll do my best to insert them here. But we go through the opening credits showing as the camera pans out of the bridge's view screen, shows a variety of star systems, nebulas, and entering into the scene from the bottom of the screen is the Basilisk itself. And the logo for the series appears on the screen, and the credits roll. After that, we go to a black screen, and as the screen comes back up, we find the crew in the bridge at their respective stations.
Okay. Starbase on screen and hail them.
Yes, you are, Caleb. Hailing them now, Captain. A couple of minutes pass, and you see the view screen opens up to a office with a gentleman sitting at a very nice office chair, and he speaks. Starbase Centauri, what can I do for you?
This is the USS Basilisk. Commander Nart acting as captain. Just letting you know we are inbound. We should be there shortly.
Very well, we're ready for you. Dock wherever you please.
Excellent.
A couple
Helm,
minutes
fine.
pass, and you
Oh,
actually
okay.
begin.
Anyway.
The starbase actually comes up on the viewfinder. You can physically see it. So after our amazing helmsman, in his beautiful helminess, gets us slid into our respective docking position, and all of the bays get locked up, he alerts you and turns back to finish his final preparations for the lock.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Look like it's time to head off. Okay. Nar will, actually, he'll signal again. What? Whatever.
That's
Well,
for
signal-
something coming up. That's for something coming
Okay.
up.
Alright. We'll signal again to, hail them again and say that we're coming on board.
Very well. We'll have a party for you.
Alright. Okay. He points to the ensign that first talked to him. You stay here. Actually, helmsman, Hawk, come with us. And he'll point to the like I said, the ensign that first talked. You're in charge for now.
Yes, sir. Sir, would you prefer for Basilisk to go with you, or would you like for her to stay on board?
I think we'll be fine. But
Are you sure, Captain?
tell you what. He takes something out of his pocket and hands it to the form of Basilisk. That will connect you to my pad. You'll be able to see what I see.
Understood, Captain.
If we need you, I'll call.
Noted.
So for my benefit, you're keeping her on board.
She is on board, but I'll call her if I need her.
Cool. All right. So as you guys head down to the bay, and everything's already docked up. Everything's locked. All you got to do is just open the pod door, and you step right onto the base.
Okay. I suppose I'll go first. Open the door.
All right. As the door is opened, what you see before you is about a medium-sized corridor. Couple, maybe about 10, 15 doors on either side. And you see at the end is a T intersection. And about time you step out of the base, the same gentleman that you were speaking with on the viewfinder steps around the corner of that T intersection and begins approaching you. Commander Nar. Nice of you. It's good to see you.
You too.
Lieutenant Realum Doorway, acting commander of the Starbase.
Well met, Lieutenant. Salutes. So, where to?
If you come with, if you'd like, you can bring your crew with me. Take it down to the conference room.
Excellent. He waves over his shoulder and follows the lieutenant.
All right, and you guys notice that those doors that you were seeing also seem to have windows at each room. And these rooms appear to be quarters of some type. And they're relatively nice quarters. Looks like each room has its own replicator. Each room has a desk as well as appropriate lighting. And you see that there are a number of pins. Yes.
Both?
Yep. And it's very nice star base. At least this half of it is.
Mm-hmm. Nara will lean over and look into one of the windows and just, better than the ship quarters. Sort of under his breath, but just enough for Dwari to hear.
Yeah. He either didn't hear it or doesn't pay it any attention.
Right.
And
Okay.
with this, he begins to introduce the various people of his party. Getting the nice Danny, getting the pleasantries out of the way and everything. And he takes very special care to introduce his chief of tactical. Name's not important, but you notice that he introduces him a little longer than the rest of the crew.
Okay. Alright. He appreciates his tactical. Good man. Alright.
Yep.
Roger will give the Roger will nod to the tactical officer as a kind of a mutual. You know how to shoot space phasers. I know how to shoot space phasers. Awesome.
Yep. All right. You also see in this crew, you also recognize one of your own crew, Mr. Nar.
Oh.
Commander Gray is on board the starbase.
Okay. Looks over and just nods at Gray.
Desmond Gray is about 6'3", flaming red hair, scarred on his neck. Very muscular, very well defined. He kind of stands up and gives Nar a little bit of a salute, and then just sort of breaks down into a little bit of a wide smile.
Good to see you, Gray. I was wondering where you got off to.
This is home. The war's getting bad. My people are kind of being pushed out to the fringes. So my father was insistent that I joined for as long as I was able. And I'm back home now.
Good man.
Trying to figure out what exactly I missed in my absence.
Well, Commander Gray, that's exactly what and this is Lieutenant Dore that's speaking. Well, Commander Gray, that's exactly what we are here to discuss. And as the walk finishes, he ushers you into a large conference room with a table and several chairs seated around it. And you see that he has a projector set up and basically has it ready to go for anyone that needs it. He takes a seat at the head of one of the one head of the table, and let me back up. He steps to, but doesn't sit down yet, to the head of one edge of the table, and his crew circles around him in the seats on his end. And I said, you guys are in the room here. So.
Okay. Just remembering it was Rosewood that was handling most of the Borg fight, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
But with you since you're the acting captain, you still have control of the what you tell him.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So you guys can sit wherever you like, but you saw how they did it.
One moment, guys.
I'll sit sort of near Gray.
Okay.
Probably like second down line, just sort of in a semi-subordinate position, but just sort of looking attentive and a bit more alert, trying to gauge the veracity of the situation.
And you rest of you guys can pretty much sit wherever you please. There's plenty of chairs. You could skip chairs in there. You could literally skip chairs. This table's several, at least 30, 40 foot long. 20 or 30 chairs in the room at least.
I sit down and put my feet on another one.
I just kind of give him a bit of a look, like, really? Really? That's what you're going to do?
And just politely out.
Rose is going to take
And look at
whatever seat
Salvador.
is available.
Okay. So, where shall we begin, gentlemen?
Well, and this is Dore speaking. Well, the first thing that we need to know, and this is what Starfleet is needing to know, what exactly happened? And I think you know what I think you know what they're referring to.
Well, Okay, you'll pull out a pad. Actually, you'll look at Rosewood. Rosewood, you were on the bridge for most of the Borg fight. Why don't you start?
Very good. Well, I think the most important thing that needs to be pointed out is that the Borg have managed to get their hands on cloaking technology. They haven't mastered it yet. They're still. It looks like they're still trying to work out all the kinks, but the Borg now have cloaking technology. That's something we can't deny. For most of the fight, it's standard anti-Borg protocols, rotating frequencies, rotating phaser frequencies, trying to find a weak point on the cube, aiming for that. And we managed to destroy one Borg cube, and then our chief engineer retrofitted. He ran a warp charge through the deflector dish and created some sort of death ray, which turned a Borg cube into atoms, as far as I recall. Not a tactic I'd advise, given that it drained our warp core. So if we needed to run, we couldn't.
And Ilana is currently on shore leave on Beta Z.
You hear a slight chuckle come up from one of the other crew.
But Rose is just going to quirk an eyebrow towards that crewman. As if to say, seriously, you find that funny?
Yeah. Dore speaks up. You're right. You're right, Commander. The fact that the Borg have cloaking technology is of extreme nature, and it means that we have to entirely change our protocols. But my question, and this isn't from Starfleet, this is just a personal, a personal thought. How did the Borg, A, get that cloaking technology, and B, why were they able to get so close to Beta Z and no vessel in the Federation pick them up?
Well, how many races do we know of that have cloaking technology? We've got Romulans, we've got Klingons. We even have our own technology to an extent. So it could be that the Borg have, captured a Klingon or a Romulan ship, assimilated the crew, and are trying to assimilate the cloaking technology. As far as how the Borg got so close to Beta said, I don't have an answer for that. It's all speculation and hypotheses at the moment.
We need to know, because clearly there's a breach in the defenses somewhere.
If the Borg got cloaking technology, that is indeed based on either the Klingons or Romulans, we could try setting up some sort of tachyon field. Although our chief engineer did set up a device which works, as far as I understand it, works basically like a sonar, picking up subspace anomalies that would surround a cloaked ship. I'm not an expert on it, you'll have to ask him. It's not a perfect answer to the problem we have at the moment, but it's a start. It's better to have a rough idea of where something is so you can shoot in that direction as opposed to having no idea and not being able to shoot at anything.
Alright, and that actually comes out of the, comes from Hawk. The Borg came out of warp following the Beta Z convoy we were escorting. Correction, it was Trill convoy, but point made. They may have followed close enough that other ships could not detect them. And Lieutenant Dore speaks up. Hiding in the signature of another vessel. Have we ever known the Borg to do that before?
No, they've always been rather blatant. Very much a case of we are the Borg, we are here, we're going to ruin your day and everyone else's day.
This is true, Ensign. They have not ever had cloaking tech before. My concern, and this one is the Federation's concern, if they have assimilated a Klingon or Romulan vessel, they've gained the knowledge of that crew. And that means that we're dealing with a much smarter enemy than we initially thought.
Well, it never pays to underestimate the intelligence of an enemy, regardless of how much we think they know. It would be safe to assume that the Borg know everything about the Federation, everything about the Romulans, everything about the Klingons. Given how many Federation citizens and Starfleet officers they've managed to persuade over the years, it would not surprise me if they had done the same with Romulans and Klingons, or any of their allies. We could be dealing with a Borg that knows more about the Alpha Quadrant than we do. Which, quite frankly, is a terrifying prospect.
Indeed it is. Here is where we have to make our political play. If the Borg have assimilated a Klingon vessel, This could go either way, and it could blow up in our face regarding the Cleon War that's going on right now. Either we can convince the Cleon race that Starfleet is here to assist and to see that justice is brought to the Borg, or it blows up in our face and we get accused of not stopping the Borg when we had the chance.
I agree, but it's something we'd have to word very, very carefully. The Klingons are very, very proud. They don't like asking for help, and they are much less ready to accept help when it's offered. If we can, rather than trying to say we're here to help, if we can turn it into an enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, that might stand a better chance of getting Klingons on side.
True, but we both know, I think both crews here know how stubborn a race that the Cleons are.
And we don't want to go to the Klingons and say, hey, by the way, the Borg have captured at least one of your ships and they've got your tech. What are you going to do about it? Like I said, this is something for the diplomatic corps. This is so far out of my field, I don't even know what to do with it.
Well, first we should probably decide if it was Romulan or Klingon.
Yeah, I would say so. Also, in my opinion, if you want to get the Klingons to help, you don't say that you want to help or we're offering help. You simply tell them there's a fight going on. Do you guys want to join in?
Exactly.
Yes. So offer
The only
them an
issue with
invite.
the only issue with that is that if we end up walking into a trap ourselves, that means that we've brought them into a trap. There's just so much that we don't know about what's going on right now. I mean, we thought we pretty much had the Borg figured out. We thought we had their tactics down. We thought we had their tech, but this brings up a whole new can of worms.
Well, with the Borg adapting, from what I've studied of the Borg, from what I've seen of the Borg, they're not very much for tactics. They are, well, at least they were very much, like I said, they turn up, they ruin everyone's day. With adapting the new technology and the new tactics, it may be once again just a case of them getting hold of new information, new technology, and trying to work it out.
Beep, Captain, beep. I want to send you a message.
To that
Pulls up his
extent,
pad, looks at it.
to that extent, I don't think the Borg are.
I know from the ship.
I don't think the Borg are tactically minded enough to set a overly complex trap. I wouldn't put it past them, but at this point in time, I don't think they are mentally capable of doing so.
I should also note that we possess suitable techniques that circumvent the Borg's current implementation of cloaking technology. It can be implemented on probes and spread out into a network, which can then be adjusted to adapt as the Borg's growing competence with cloaking technology adapts. This is, of course, completely unrelated to being able to circumvent the Klingon cloaking technology in mass in our own territories.
Basalisk makes a good point. We could use this in our usual defenses.
One thought, though.
Okay.
If these were just essentially a test of the cloaking technology, why was it pursuing this trail convoy?
It may have been testing both the cloaking technology and a new form of tactic, which worked.
Hmm.
It also worries me that the Borg feel it necessary to apply cloaking technology. They never seemed to need it before. Their Borgs and their spheres and their probes are just so powerful that we struggle to take them on. But it may have reached a point that the Borg decided, hang on, Federation the Federation are adapting to us. We need to adapt to new ways of thinking to beat them.
That might be being a little just to ourselves. It's more likely that they simply had the technology and assimilated it like they do everything else.
The only other issue is if they have assimilated some form of intelligence, that means that they know the secrets of that intelligence. They know the political secrets, they know the military secrets, they know everything.
Which means either the Klingons or the Romulans are about to be hit hard.
And if that's the case, we can try to set some sort of defensive perimeter along the Klingon border and across the neutral zone. But both those races are so volatile, and with the Klingon situation being as up in the air as it is, they could easily read that as the Federation has had enough of our shit. They're going to invade, which we don't really want to do. And as much as we can protest that that line of thinking, are either of those races going to believe us when we say no, we're not going to invade? We just because we've got this huge fleet along your border doesn't mean we're going to invade. We're just here for safety reasons, totally.
Or we
They'll see that as a
send,
threat.
or we send a single ship to discuss things with them.
Diplomatically.
Perhaps even ours.
Well, like I said,
The lieutenant cuts his eyes. The lieutenant cuts his eyes at you, Nar.
Mhm.
Are you volunteering, Captain?
I'm just saying we're available.
I hope you're a better diplomat than I am, sir.
And he switches to Klingon and says, I do speak Klingon. And then he switches back to normal.
As do I, in Klingon.
Ah. He just nods at Salvador.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to leave that up to the decision of you guys. And I'm going to leave that up to your command discipline, Captain Nar. But whatever decision we make could hold Starfleet in the balance. We have to be aware of this.
Not just
The only thing
on the point.
The only thing Starfleet was looking for was intelligence. The notes that they sent me said nothing about diplomatic relations, combat tactics, anything of the sorts, only intelligence. A mission to speak to the Klingons could be considered an information gathering expedition. Or it could be taken completely out of context and seen as an invasion, as the good tactical commander has spoken of.
Does one ship warrant an invasion, though? If we
This is true.
can negotiate safe passage into Klingon space, preferably with some friendlies, and speak to the leaders of both factions, and if we make it clear that we're not there as we are trying to unite you, that can have Klingon friends, but more of this is the situation we thought you needed to know.
Exactly. Insinuating circumstances because of assimilating a robot, mental, horrible aliens. Just horrible aliens. Exactly why it's not something we would normally do. Either way, we're biting off a lot. I just hope we can chew it.
Agreed.
Well, we do have a Klingon crew member who I'm not sure if her house is good, but that would at least allow us entrance into Klingon space, and just out of care with the diplomatic relations between Cardassia and the Klingons.
You two are strained, but not exactly at each other's throats.
So better than the Federation in the Klingon sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Out of character, that's a miracle. Sheesh.
It is a miracle. Then again, the Borg have cloaking technology.
Yep. Exactly.
Lieutenant Dore speaks. Well, we have the possibility of reaching out to the few Cleon allies we do have. I don't know whether they'd be able to secure you passage, but it's a step.
And he just
Starbase here is the starbase here is we're equipped to hold it, but
well, as far as the position, it's good to know that you at least have it for the moment. Diplomatic relations being as strained as they are, how exactly, which faction would you suppose we extend the olive branch to?
well, like I said, we do have a handful of Cleon allies still in existence. They could at least get the word out. Beta Z is already strained as it is holding peace talks. Also, setting up another peace talk on Beta Z makes it a target.
As I said before, I'm no diplomat, but in my head, the best thing to do would be to go straight to the Klingon commanders and inform them of the situation and allow them to act on it as they see fit. If we can get an audience with the leaders of both Klingon factions and go, this is information that needs to be had by everyone. This is a major threat to not just the Federation, but to everyone in the galaxy. This is information you need to have.
Agreed. A threat to all sentient life, regardless of political ideology.
Exactly. The
It's
Borg
a-
don't give a damn about politics.
Is it risk?
It's at this you see a young lady steps into the room, and she appears to be trying to get Dore's attention. He turns back to her, and she leans down and she speaks something into his ear. He nods, and she takes her exit. Well, that's good to hear. We have a third party that's interested.
Do tell,
And they're
sir.
docking as we speak.
Dare we ask who?
Indeed you do, because this is unprecedented. We are about to make first contact.
If I
Well,
could, I would have put on a shinier uniform.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay.
we don't have too many diplomats on the crew. He just sort of straightens himself up a little bit.
So, gentlemen, how do we want to handle this? Just the captains? Do we want to send the whole...
Hmm.
Numbers might be seen as aggressive, so perhaps if we keep the gathering small.
Yes. I agree. And hang on. Ah. Okay. Okay. Back. Hmm.
Either way.
Small numbers.
Either way, I will be on the greeting party. I, as well as my tactical officer, and I would think that Commander Nord, you as well as
Yes.
Commander Rosewood, is it, sir?
Yes.
I would
I'd be
think
more than
that
glad
would
to
be
go too.
appropriate. No
I'll
more
leave
than
my
5 or
business
6.
Up to the commander.
I say no more than 5 or 6. Myself, my tactical officer, Captain Namar, Commander Rosewood, and Commander Salvador. That's 5.
And maybe a couple of, I don't know, ensigns or something like that?
Well, we don't know exactly what we're walking into, so I say we bring science first. We never know.
Wise move.
Are we okay with that?
He just looks over at Nar
Hmm.
and just kind of whispers, "Who is our current science officer? There was an incident, correct, involving some sort of laser?"
Yeah, your science officer is with you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He just kind of cuts his eyes toward Mr. Torrell.
While I would be happy to oversee these matters, I wish you all luck. You are a magnificent crew, one of the best people that I have ever served with. And he'll just kind of, like, stand at attention for a second and then sort of sink back into his seat, just sort of relaxing a little. If you need me, I'll be here.
Understood, Commander.
And with this, Dore stands. Well, gentlemen, let's go greet our guests.
Nar stands up and waits for Dwari.
Rosa stands up as well, and he just takes a little bit more, a couple seconds more, just to make sure his uniform's nice and neat and tidy.
Yep.
And Nar will make sure that his phaser is secure and not
Yeah.
seen as a threat.
Upon you doing that, Dore turns to his crew and nods. Same to you.
Mm.
And you guys are led down another hallway, pretty much exactly like the one that you went down to begin with, but you can tell this one isn't the same hallway. The bay door slides open, and what steps out is a unusual looking being, a rather squat gentleman, about 4.5 feet tall at the most. And you see that the gentleman has some type of a pack of some sorts on its back. A helmet encases his head, and as it reaches up to remove the helmet, you see that it has all the hand looks like a human hand minus the thumb. And as the creature takes its helmet off, you see what would look like a human face, were it not for the fact that runs right across the top of the cheekbones on either side of the face. As the creature places its helmet on the floor, you see it lifts its hands and slowly one of them moves to the side of its what trousers, pants, whatever this thing is wearing. It looks like trousers. And you see it produces a box of some type, and it holds it out for you.
Holds it out to.
It's up to you guys. To the crew, the people who have gathered. No one in particular.
Hey, I'm not there. You left me on the ship.
I'll take it if you want.
Yep.
You're in the pad. You're seeing all this. You're in the pad.
You're in the pad.
Yeah.
Alright. Toll will take it.
Okay.
Someone.
Alright, that's fine.
The box looks like it actually looks like just a gift box. And as you run your fingers across it, you find a series of metal clasps. And you're easily able to open each clasp with a flick of the thumb. And as you lift the lid, what you see inside are a number of small glowing stones. 6 in total.
Do I have any familiarity with these as a scientist?
Yes, you do. You have seen them before. You know that these stones are occasionally used in warp drives. Exactly how, you have no idea, but you know that their engineering does enjoy them. They seem to accentuate warp cores.
Interesting. I'm going to close the box on them, assuming these things probably aren't all that stable.
They're not.
Mm-hmm.
The creature, still with the hand held up, points back to the bay. A number of other creatures that look exactly like him step out. Same thing, each removing their helmet as they do. The one that initially stepped out speaks. I am Centurion. We are the Hordrag. We understand that there is a threat in the galaxy. We offer our assistance. And you notice that the creature's voice almost echoes a little. Doesn't sound like it's bouncing off of anything in the room. It's just the nature of the vocal cords just seem like they echo somewhat.
Mm.
And they are speaking Federation Standard.
Your assistance is very welcome. It takes every man to help out his fellows when there's a threat such as this.
The lieutenant cuts his eyes over at you, Nar, before almost looking for you to play along with what he's about to say. Well, you said Centurion. You said is what we may call you. The creature's head nods. Well, Centurion, as the good captain has said, your assistance is very much appreciated. We are currently in the middle of a negotiation. Well, I'll take that back. More of a discussion of tactics, if you would care to join us. The creature's head nods. Very well. If you would follow us. A few minutes pass, and back in the conference room, the conference door opens from outside. And those of you that were still in the conference room see the same thing just described to the people who were on the greeting team. And you notice the creatures did bring the helmets with them. And Torl, you still have the box with the stones. An uneasy sense of wonder falls over the room. Go ahead, Nor.
I was just gonna say I would offer the guests a chance to sit down before I sit down. That's all. He'll just kindly wait until at least one of them has seated.
They seem to not.
Yeah.
As they look at the chairs, they seem to be completely lost as to what they're supposed to do.
Gray will stand up and perform the sit-down gesture, just basically not trying to insult their intelligence or anything, but kind of show them.
Yeah.
He'll remain silent as he does this.
Centurion seems to... Yeah. The one that called himself Centurion seems to get the idea, and makes the attempt to sit down, falling out of the chair at first before picking himself back up and getting himself situated. And you see that his personnel follow suit and take seats as well. Centurion speaks as he gets himself situated. We are the Hadrag. We bring assistance. A great threat steps into our galaxy this day. Some Borg, I believe they are called.
That would be the term for them that we use, at least.
That's the term they refer to themselves as well.
Yes.
Yes, we
What is
a little bit of experience with the Borg.
what threat does this being the Borg bring?
To use their own word for it, assimilation. They capture people, take them aboard their ships, and turn them into more of them.
In a process that will wipe out all individuality within your species.
Like the plague.
Why is this? What is their purpose? Why do they do such things?
As far as we can tell, their purpose is to collect every form of life and turn it into more of them. When they turn a person into one of them, they gain that person's knowledge. As far as we know, they work on a hive mind. They are a shared consciousness connected by neural interfaces and subspace waves, all that fun technological stuff. But when a person becomes part of them, that person's knowledge becomes the knowledge of the Borg, and that person gains the knowledge of the Borg. However, that person is no longer a person, it's just another drone. They want to make everything in the galaxy them, not like them. They want to make everything Borg.
And Rails will speak up. It's more like a hive of bees than an actual culture. It's more like a tyrannical overthrow everything that was, and now it becomes solely them. Not a uniformity, but a complete overshadowing. Kind of like a. And he searches for a word. Enslavement.
I wouldn't call it slave.
Will's back.
Once you've been assimilated, you no longer have any resistance to them.
There have been instances of people being quote-unquote rescued from the Borg and returning to a semi-normal life, but those instances are few and far between. It's so rare that it's almost not worth mentioning.
This is concerning. Sentience
That's one way of putting it.
seeks to eradicate other sentience. No race shall be greater than another. How may we help?
Rosewood looks like he's about to speak, and then realizes he doesn't have a clue, so just looks at Nar for any kind of. Just you're a diplomat.
Well,
He's looking at
What
like,
exactly
help!
do you have big guns?
it's like, well, what sort of skills and technology might you have to offer? We'll go from there.
We have the sun rays.
Sun rays.
Hmm.
Elaborate.
The great maker has blessed us with abilities to create, destroy.
It might be
Large
best if we
vessels
exchange.
in one strike.
Then it might be best if we exchange both biological and technological records from both the Federation cultures and your own.
Exchange of information is
Mhm.
ideal.
Yes. Plus, I'd be very interested to learn your native language, as would the rest of the Federation.
Complicated from what we have been told.
I'm sure we can work it out. We have
And as
enough
he turns
experts.
towards, he turns his head to Hawk. And if you guys didn't see what he asked, it's in the chat. And what he said is he asked how this race has encountered the Borg. We were investigating. We were looking for sustenance. Mining, I think the term is that the taller races use. They appeared among us. They attacked. We were pulled. A number of our own were taken since. A number of our vessels have become missing. We attempted to use the sun rays. We failed. These Borg disappeared. I misunderstand. What is cloak?
The ability.
To your ship
to-
invisible.
Yes.
To disappear as they did. We are lacking in such technology.
I believe we've found our trade. At least a start.
Yes. Again, how may we help?
We are missing our people. We are few in number. It is imperative that we remain.
Hmm.
Technology trade is in order. We'll show you how to disappear, and you can show us how you use the sun rays. If that's acceptable to you.
This is acceptable. This is acceptable. Problem. Only we.
After 15 years. What do I have now? I'll show you. You'll have your life ruined.
And there he goes again.
Yeah, it's been really kind of laggy for some reason.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, you've been doing really
Weavy.
well. Completely new form of alien life, and they could have easily assumed that any of our actions would have been hostile. So it worked out pretty well.
He returned.
And yeah, he's back.
Do-do-do-do.
Rewind.
Problem. Only we have used the sun rays. No one else has attempted. It may not work for anyone else. You see, he tapped on his arm as he's speaking. We must interface.
You're saying you have to physically connect to the sun rays in order to use them.
This is correct. We connect with this as he touches his arm, and this as he taps on his head.
Now that I find very interesting.
Incredibly so.
Mental and physical.
We are honored by you sharing such cherished secrets of your people, by the way.
Yes.
Rosewood just gets
threatened.
this small Rosewood gets this small glint in his eye of, ooh, think what I could do with that.
We
We
should
are
probably
threatened. There are no secrets any longer.
Well, I'm sure we'll be able to exchange things like replicator technology if you don't have that.
I am unknowing of this replicator.
The ability to create matter from seemingly nothing.
That is interesting. We have heard of your Picard and this Borg. How does this exist? We have heard of this Picard has been taken by the Borg and was returned.
He was returned by great dedication from his crew and most of the luck in the galaxy. The galaxy ran dry on like that day.
Return is possible then.
Return is possible, but very rare.
And very difficult.
If investigating the Borg we find any of your species, we see it's possible some species may have a greater resilience to Borg conditioning, but I don't know how much hope you should put in that.
We shall fight this Borg.
How many
We are
of you?
we are few in number. We must survive.
How many numbers?
He goes through this long calculation verbally, math that you have never heard before in your head. Like it sounds like what would be the love child of trigonometry and higher level calculus, and
God.
comes up with a number. Yeah, and comes up with a number in the low 200s.
Oh,
And where are these remaining members of your species located?
We are travelers. We have no rock.
It might be worth inviting them into the sanctuary of Federation space then.
agreed.
It might, but it could be a part of their culture is to be wanderers. They don't want them losing what is theirs, or else they can't
But
find it.
this being a safe place for them, they can come and go as they please, but they will always be safe.
I mean, since they're new to our, new to us, then surely the Federation space would be large enough for them to explore. If they while this problem is being resolved. I doubt they'd run out of places to go.
The Federation space is large. Rosa looks at what's his chops and asks, how many ships do you have? How many ships do your people currently command?
He spits out another indication of that ridiculous math. And comes up with 5.
5 ships.
5 ships.
200 and something people. Commander Na, I'd highly recommend we take them into Federation space as fast as possible. I hate to say it, but this is a people on the verge of extinction, and as he says, his people must survive.
Yes.
I think too many races have been lost to the Borg for us to allow another one to fall.
And just allow them in races and supplying them with Federation for them to prosper again.
Bring them under protection, find them a place, allow them to build ships, replenish their numbers, while they have intelligence.
We could offer them a planet and he turns to Centurion. If you'd like, we could find you a place to stay.
The Great Maker sees that we are sufficient on our vessels.
We may also be able to provide materials to maintain and repair your ships if needed. Even materials to build new ships if you require it.
We are unified.
In what sense are you unified?
We are unified unto you, your federation, as you call it.
How did you come to hear of the Federation?
We are travelers.
So you've heard
We
about the
are.
Federation through hearsay and such.
That is correct. We are admirable of your Picard and your
And there he goes again.
And he's
Oh,
back.
that was quick.
This is popping back up quicker.
Yeah.
It's like playing the hokey pokey with Will.
Yeah, I know, right? We are admirable of your Picard and your Kirk and this Lafarge. You see, one of the other creatures leans into Centurion, and you see its mouth move, but you hear no words. Correction, Lev Forge.
The Forge.
Lev Forge.
The Forge. The Forge.
These names are known to us.
I'd say you got a good example then, if a slightly reckless one.
Perhaps. Might I be so bold as to inquire as to what values your culture believes in? What do you aspire to be?
The Great Maker sees to it that we all are equal, and that we all prosper. We must share in all that exists. For when we share in all that exists, we are enlightened.
It might not be smart to put them near the Ferengi.
The pad. Nar's pad bleeps, and he looks at it. Ah. Question. May we ask of your great maker?
Ah, the Great Maker, the one from which we derive. The Great Maker saw the galaxy needed help. We were created. Our intent is to unify this galaxy, that all may share and all may be enlightened.
Incredible.
Interesting.
I don't mean to cause any offence by asking this, but does your great maker go by any other name?
He has no name but Great Maker. Names are earned. One is not given name when one is made. One earns name.
So would I be correct in thinking that your name of Centurion is also a rank?
That is correct.
That's very
I
interesting.
am I am chosen.
Chosen to do what?
The great maker blessed me with leadership.
Gray will point to himself and Nar. So you guide and protect your people much as we would.
Might be assuming a lot that we can understand their culture in our first conversation.
True, but the understanding of leader is someone that at least tries to nudge society in the right direction. At least
We
a
can
little.
assume he's in command. He's the one who's been elected to talk to us.
Yes.
You also notice that none of the other members of this race are speaking, at least not publicly.
I'll immediately fall silent. Like I didn't mean to break any of their rules. I'll just look like, eyes forward, straight posture. Not like trying to break rank or anything.
We have heard others know of the great maker. On Terra, there is great maker. He sent forth his creation to give up life.
I think he's
That's
referring to your
the
god.
enlightened.
That is a very, very old faith from Earth. And it's one that not very many adhere to these days.
All the same, I would be interested in learning of this custom of your people's ways. If you would be willing to teach me.
We are. This is in response to Hawk's comment. We are travelers. We learn much.
It sounds like we have a lot to learn from each other. Both
That is correct.
both in technology but also culture and religious principles.
In person, yes. And if you didn't see, Hawk asked if this was their first encounter with the Federation. In person, yes. Learning through words and phrases is not adequate. For one to understand, one must experience.
I think I'll like these people quite a lot.
We were once many. There was conflict. The Great Maker saw that a number of us were misunderstanding. They were cast away. They did not understand. They brought war amongst us. We were once, and he spits math out again to come up with in the 5,000s.
And these other people misinterpreted the creator's teachings. So
That is correct.
And Gray will just look over it more. If it is possible, Commander, I would very much appreciate the opportunity to learn from their culture directly as an ambassador.
The wheels were already turning, Commander.
I'll just break out in a wide grin.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. I'll take care of that.
So, so to put it simply, they're a traveling, or at least possibly even displaced theocracy.
Work, yeah.
As said,
Likely more complicated.
Yes.
as said, the Great Maker sees that we are sufficient.
Hmm.
The Great Maker requests in return understanding.
In our societies, generally that is referred to as a theocracy. I mean, you won't find discrimination for it. I mean, we have quite a few different forms of social development races within us. For example, he's going to indicate Hawk and say plutocracy. And then he's going to take one of the humans gathered and say democracy. Indicate himself meritocracy.
And there are some planets within the Federation that work on other systems of government. Like I'm sure there's one or two worlds that still utilize the feudal system.
Monarchy.
Quite possibly.
Somebody else want to head this? I'm not really the political.
Yes, the Cardassians being the political officer.
Yeah,
That seems a little bit
Yeah,
off.
that's a bad idea. That might not be a good idea.
Oh, what's wrong with Cardassian politics?
Do you want the list in alphabetical or chronological order?
I don't mind.
Basilisk, you can you can alert if you'd like. Actually, roleplay amongst yourself. I'll be right back.
Okay, I don't know what I would alert about, but I shall ping.
Okay. I'm gonna pad. And actually, we'll turn off the audio Yes.
Well, due to current specifications given, race currently has a unbalanced selection of technology. They are on one side are rather primitive, and on the other side extremely advanced.
Oh.
So their society focused.
Focus mainly on computer technology, mining technology, and weapons technology. Everything else seems lackluster.
Not entirely unexpected.
Mining technology is interesting.
By any chance, since I'm assuming I'm aware that you've been poking the other systems, I'm going to ask about the mineral that we've found, if this is something they are,
I'm still interacting with their systems for queries onto this mineral.
Alright, keep us updated. I'd be interested to know what they
Understood. Just to pull this, I don't think Prime Directive applies here. They're already warp capable.
Directive is raised to below our culture. Plus, also, I'm pretty certain it wouldn't count towards races that contacted us.
Not to be a pain here, but I'm getting somebody's TV is on in the background, and it's making it hard to hear.
Is it me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. Yep. All right. But I caught that. The query regarding the stone, that sample from the entity from Basalisk, what you're able to deduce, this species could use that as sustenance, but it's not their per se preferred method.
So they actually live on minerals.
Correct.
That's not a no. There's a specific term for it. I don't think it's called lithium.
This means that we probably would have to provide them with replicated technology if we expect them to stay put.
It would be dependent on the energy creation technology, which apparently is not as high tech as they would like. Sure, they can develop a good energy beam, but beyond that, being able to supply energy to large waves of replicators without frying their ship's internal systems, not so great.
But if we expect them to stay still and not mine anything, then we'd need to give them some alternate method of criminal need.
Understood. Also, potentially stops their race being able to mine themselves into starvation.
And Justin, you can feel free to alert to that if you'd like.
I think I will alert that of just how primitive some sections of their tech actually is. So, seriously, lever operated, actual levers that you pull. Here's a diagram of what an old 19th century lever looks like. You may not have seen one before. There's currently only one located on the ship, and that's for hot wiring the warp core on low voltage.
This is interesting, but
Okay.
This does not show a balanced level of technological development, shown so they have been influenced by other races during their time.
Well, it is uncommon. It's also not uncommon for a theocracy to remain with what they've got and be unwilling to improve on it. If it still functions, then just generally theocracies have not been proven to be the most progressive.
18th and 17th century the theocracy leaders of Terra were the leaders in astrology and essentially everything to do with expanding the stars. It was only in the 20th century where they began to hamper educational efforts.
Well, I'm
As said,
pretty sure in
Great.
history we can say that theocracy went back and forth quite a bit.
Correct, and
Whether it was
unfortunately involved considerably torture methods in the 20th century.
Exactly.
Great Maker sees that we receive all that is needed.
Easy to make
We
a bit of a
can-
gesture to say my point exactly. They believe that if they need
We
to think
will-
it will be provided for them.
We will integrate as seen. Great Maker has provided us with you. We must understand what it is that you provide, and we must share equally, that we may all be enlightened.
And since you are self-sufficient, we will only provide what you ask for to preserve your culture.
This
If
is
you-
acceptable. It is custom to show our culture. As Centurion stands, he motions back towards the door. I think the other races call this a tour.
Rosewood stands up maybe a little bit too eagerly.
I'm right behind him.
Nara will stand up right along with him. A little bit behind, but right along with him.
Yep. Paul's gonna be there, Medicry caught out. Let's get some scans.
In his head, Rosewood's kind of regressed back to being a 5-year-old boy. I want to see how the guns work!
It's only sheer militaristic discipline that's been pounded into my head that is keeping me from doing the same.
Of
So,
course, he's not saying that out loud. That's just how he's going in his head.
yeah,
Was it
exactly.
strong enough for Nara to pick it up without even trying?
A little bit. No.
Okay.
All right. He takes you back down that hallway. As it open. You guys step onto a vessel that like it could have honestly came out of Victorian England. The very nature of the vessel looks very, very steampunky.
I'm highly
Various
offended, by the
whistle
way.
bells, a number of levers, gauges,
I'm
and
assuming it's highly
he
decorative as
takes
well.
you into, yes, extremely, and yes, there are gears, chain. There's even some chain-driven mechanisms at points.
Okay, first question. What
He
exactly power these vessels?
he takes you. He shows you into a up to a door, and as he opens the door, what you immediately begin to smell sulfur. And as you continue to step inside, you find that he has showed you to to their engine room. A pair of warp engines and a single impulse engine. We use this as he shows you a large vial full of the yellowy powdered sulfur. It is given to us by the Great Maker. It makes, as he points one finger back, which was the engines, it makes them work.
Not to sound offensive, but you don't sound entirely familiar with your own technology. Almost. Is he giving off that air, to be sure?
Yes, he is.
Or is that just... Okay.
Yes, he seems to not know exactly how it works, only that it does.
Just out of curiosity,
And he appears to honestly believe every word he's saying.
just out of curiosity, how old is this ship?
Okay, I'm...
Old. Many. More crazy math comes out to roughly somewhere between 70 to 90 years.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to scan the air to make sure that the engine's not giving off anything dangerous. I mean, if creating trilithium, then just about everybody in the crew apart from me is going to drop dead very soon.
It's not. It's safe.
Okay. And it's not giving off cobalt either, is it? Because then everybody...
I haven't dropped it, but you didn't invite me on this
me
trip.
is going...
It is not.
Good.
You also see, as he takes you into for a closer look, you see those same stones that he offered to you guys as a gift. You see what looks like a repository on one of the warp core engines that has those stones in it.
Interesting.
Can I get a bit more info on those stones?
Say again, Justin?
Well, it seems that they've got...
Can I get a bit more info on those stones?
They
I
have
had
access-
talked previously to this, but unfortunately I just realised I had still muted myself.
Oh, those stones are same thing. It's a mineral that you're not entirely familiar with, but it almost looks like a aluminum and gold alloy.
Oh my goodness. Alright. Quick question, Will. Since I was out, what do their weapons look like? I mean, their ships look highly Victorian, highly decorative, and highly
He's actually on his way to the bridge with you. He's actually, the next place he takes you guys is the bridge. And Basilisk was right. The command consoles are all lever based. If you've ever seen what the bridge of a modern day ship, ship looks like, it's very not gear based, but more of a push a handle up and down to achieve various effects.
Say, question. What's their shield technology like?
Not the greatest in the world.
Can I beat myself out for an inspection?
That's exactly what I'm doing. I hope so.
Can you please announce it first?
Well, also, can I scan their ships for? Do their ships have teleporters? Do they actually have teleporter technology?
They have one teleporter on board, but it looks like it doesn't look like it's very strong. It actually doesn't look like it can even teleport sentient life.
Right.
This is kind
of base life form.
In which case, Lieutenant Commander, I'm requesting permission to teleport both myself and the name of Joshua's character on board the vessel for inspection.
Desmond Gray, by the way.
Desmond Gray. There we go.
And Will, you said that it doesn't look like it can transport carbon-based life.
Well, no, but assumedly won't be using that. If their shields don't strong enough to stop, so we can just beam straight in.
Well,
don't freak anyone out when you do it.
Well, I'm assuming they don't have their shield rates considering they're docked. And so we could teleport past that. But it just might be they might be not be happy. And I should technically, as far as the laws of asking for permission are concerned, I should ask in advance before doing so.
And I'm posing the question to Nar is posing the question to Centurion, stating that there are a couple more of the crew that would like to come aboard.
Friends, guests, this is acceptable.
Excellent.
All right, I will actually step back a little bit.
Also,
to show off.
Caleb, if you're still with us,
so that they can walk in without being seen. You know, just teleporting in.
Caleb, if you're still with us, Caleb, he's the science part. The science lab is coming up on the tour. This will be the next thing he shows.
Rosewood has kind of wandered off, and he's looking for the tactical console.
It's there, and same thing. It's lever based, literal switches. Literal toggle switches, and you see on below one of the toggle switches a drawing of a sun, and the switch there is flipped to the off position.
That is assuming
okay.
the
I
weapons.
think I know what that is, so I'm not gonna push it.
Don't push anything.
Don't touch me.
If you try to touch anything, Paul will slap you away from it.
Yeah. Once I come back with the two, I'll actually approach.
Yeah, you're able to with no problem.
I was hoping to teleport directly on, but very well, Lieutenant.
You don't want to confuse them. It's entirely possible they think a transporter can actually move sentient life.
Warp capable, teleport capable civilization would be worth finding out for the record.
Nar, you're able to get the rest of the crew.
Okay.
And you're able to get everybody to the bridge.
I walk over to one of the command console, or I walk over to the command console politely, slowly to gauge it, gauge reaction, just to investigate it and see if I
You
can.
see that apparently, the command console and the helm are the same.
Ah,
It's
Oh,
like
please tell me that the helm is one of those big ship's wheels. If it's not, I'm gonna cry.
and we lost.
Oh, and he's gone!
Please
Oh, damn
wait.
him.
Actually, I'm looking for
we're waiting. Yes, here we go. Oh yeah.
looking for similarities to the
The helm does appear to be It does appear to be ship's wheels, but they are very small, compact, roughly about 20 or 30 centimeters diameter. You see there are two of them. In between the two wheels, you see there appears to be switches to perform various effects. And you see there's a series of large push buttons on the console as well.
I'll ask Centurion for a brief explanation of how things work on it.
I do have a question. What is the crew's reaction to a large, obviously robotic person coming onto their ship?
You can visibly see that not Centurion, but you could see that his crew are visibly shaken, but they don't take any action.
And I'll just sort of whisper to Basilisk, best behavior. Well, kind of with me right now.
I'm inspecting their ship for military operations.
And as Centurion continues about the command console, he points to
year-old
the two wheels. One wheel he points to, he explains as best he can that one wheel controls the pitch and the yaw of the vessel, the other wheel controls the forward and backward operation.
Yay! I have naval officers in my background. So, awesome.
The naval officer that actually knows old naval techniques, I'll be damned.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in my background, like grandfather's grandfather's grandfather was like ship captain. So I at least have a vague idea. Like vague, like really vague. But I'm all the same fascinated.
But as Centurion extends his hand away from the to a side door where the bridge is, he continues. Our great maker has seen forth to bless us with magics of healing. It takes you guys into is a science laboratory. And this
Somebody may have
lab...
to drag Rosewood off the bridge.
Yeah.
Just grab him by the ear.
This lab looks like it walked right out of an 1800 Civil War reenactment.
Oh dear.
It's very Victorian and very old.
This my face.
Did I mention they had somewhat of a schizophrenia technological build?
Alright, yeah. I was gonna pull out my medical tricorder to kind of like get some readings, but I just like no. I have nothing for you.
They have everything, including bone saws, the old school style of 1800 style of hypodermic needle. They even have the leather straps on the operating chairs.
Say, some stuff was good stuff.
Can I steal
on
any lot?
very, very close observation on
Hang on.
their anatomy. And unfortunately, the way that they gained those close observation was through flaying people alive.
All right. As you were saying, Caleb.
I was saying, can I steal any laudanum or ether?
Oh goodness! Please
Wow.
do not. Please do not.
Bad idea.
Please
Hey,
don't.
hey, I don't judge you
Probably
guys on
don't
your
wanna do that.
departments.
Yep, probably don't want to. It's probably
Yeah,
not a good idea.
I'm not actually going. No, but
If he's trying to steal something,
no, I'm not. Okay, serious, no. But yeah, I don't know what. I'm just again, Salvador is just. It's amazing. Yes, I can say with certainty I haven't seen a laboratory or a medical bay quite like it in years.
Meanwhile, I'm personally going to go through this like I'll do any ship's observation. I'll go up, inspect the tools, then I'll inspect the personnel, then I'll inspect the area, in that order.
Yep. Okay. I am doing the exact same thing. I am fascinated by these people.
And I'll do this all in the frame of face of somebody that you do not want to play poker against.
I'll send you a full. I'll get you a copy of the full write-up on it, Justin. But suffice it to say, this ship is old.
So diagnosis, there is no sensible reason this thing should work.
Oh,
Correct.
Oh no, there's plenty of reason that it works. It's because they have a very unbalanced technology development. They've obviously focused more on their computer technology, weapons technology, and otherwise the full neglect for most of their civilization on other technologies.
Yep.
Will, curious, do they have any honest to goodness books?
You see that they actually do have a series of papers that are bound together with what looks like some kind of a glue.
Like,
And somehow I think I just saw you flinch.
so like vellum, basically, bound together with some sort of an
I
Slightly strange, considering their
approach them and ask if I may read.
It's a bit
You
on
may.
books, considering they're a mineral-focused society.
One up and
Obviously.
start flipping through it. Is
This
this
is true,
language
Caleb.
I know?
You see it's actually multiple languages. It looks like it's been written by different writers, and it looks like they've literally just been taking notes on the places that they have visited. You see everything from old Latin from Terra. You see a little trill. There's Federation Standard in there. There's a small, tiny bit of broken Cleon that's written there. It's various different languages.
Any languages I don't know?
Several.
French.
Several.
Since we've been by the med bay, I'm
information
assuming there was some kind
From
of records or medical texts I can look over.
Yeah.
Right, I'll be doing that.
Yes, that is correct. Text are
Mhm.
very primitive. But they are just very primitive drawings, very primitive diagrams and explanations.
So, not even 1900, more like 1800.
Correct.
Okay.
And this document you're reading, it's a combination of someone has just been taking notes on the things that they've encountered, And you see it also, there's a note in there that some of those languages are the authors attempting to practice writing the languages.
Ah. So, how
This
good would
is,
you say the trill was?
well, this is the true vessel that they used when they encountered those languages.
Probably. The trill is mediocre at best.
They get the gist of it, but they don't get the nuances.
Correct. The
Okay.
the pen strokes and whatnot are not there like they should be.
Which, considering some of their bits, that's actually quite impressive. They must have been using their computer tech, which is actually quite good to help with the details.
I'll actually go over to Centurion and indicate the trill. This is actually pretty good for a non-native.
We seek to provide all, and we seek that all becomes us. We must share.
Okay, I'll be right back.
He takes you next on the tour to the crew quarters. Extremely primitive. The bunks actually appear to be screwed, bolted, welded somehow into the bulkhead of the ship. There are a couple of different tables in each crew quarter, and you see that there's paper, writing instruments, variety of different odds and ends. And you see that the lighting in the room actually appears to be unusually high tech for the front furniture dressings.
Whoa. Okay, cool.
So very
Out of
good.
character.
And as Centurion steps into one of the crew quarters, he slides the door open for you guys to come in. After all of you have walked in, he speaks. Great Maker, illuminate us. You hear a computerized voice. Illumination active.
Whoa, elimination? Doesn't sound good.
Illumination.
Oh, okay.
Illumination. Light.
Sorry, I was distracted.
Wow. Out of character. The computer's the great maker!
Oh my. This is at hand a very cool civilization and a very terrifying one. That was completely out of character. Don't use that against me.
And you notice that he's pretty much taken you on a exactly perfect round trip around the vessel, because you can see up around the corner the engine room.
Huh. Let's see. Nar's trying to think how to say this properly. So the Great Maker speaks through your computer.
That
Or
is
you-
correct.
Hmm.
The Great Maker made us. After he made us, his mission was complete. He remained in our vessel to guide us.
Query. Might we see demonstration of Sunman's technology? Sunman's technology, cross-reference, sounds like thermal lances. Thermal lances were not followed through in technological development by Federation due to be considered cruel, as use of thermal lances upon unshielded technology causes people upon that ship to experience extreme situations. See, I'm trying to be
Centurion
diplomatic.
nods. Yeah. It's a little hard for a warship to be diplomatic, huh? Centurion nods.
Yeah.
And he nods and he turns to his crew. And he appears to lock eyes with them for a couple of seconds. And they rush off, doing various things. And after a couple of moments, you feel the vessel roar to life.
Minor asteroid target should be.
Say that again, Justin?
I was just stating minor asteroid target. Okay, you get lots of minor asteroids in space. Target that one. It's unharmful to us. We have shields, but it'll be a suitable weapons test.
He takes you back to the bridge, where he and a number of his crew take various stations. You notice that their demonstration is done in complete silence, almost as if they're linked somehow.
Putting out middle feelers to see if I catch anything.
Yes.
Lots of it.
Commands going back and forth.
Okay. I had a feeling.
And the tactical console, or his tactical officer, reaches forward and he grabs one of the levers. And at the same time, he flips that switch that had the picture of the sun on it to the on position. And you notice that he slowly begins to raise the lever that's beside of it. As he does, you hear a whir coming from the warp core. And after a couple of seconds, he finishes pushing the lever forward. As he pushes it forward, you see a beam begins to form underneath the ship. A greenish-yellow translucent beam. And as the lever is pushed all the way forward, that beam fires at the asteroid, and the asteroid is obliterated.
Kind of like that Borg ship not long ago, right?
Well, we will do a nice comparison at this point.
Having... Okay, I'm going to try and...
Is it what I thought it was? Is it a thermal lance?
It is.
Ooh.
Is it a powerful one, or is it just like a medium grade? How strong is it? I mean, how badly is that asteroid fucked up?
I'm going to use...
What asteroid? What asteroid?
Poof.
Oh yeah, it would have been a thermal lance would have deatomized it.
Yeah, I'm going to
Not particularly
access
useful against
Basalisk.
shielded technology, but if fired against anything vulnerable, it's gone.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm
Alright.
going to... Oh,
The guy on the tactical console, does he have anything linked into the side of his skull, or are you doing it all mentally?
Appears to be doing it mentally.
Okay.
The physical maneuvering of switches and pushing things, he's doing that tactfully, or he's doing that physically. But the issuing of commands seems to be mental.
Okay.
Now you said to me that they had good computer technology. Considering this is all wired on the side, I mean, with like physical pushers, where does their computer technology actually fit in?
Their information banks are massive.
I don't know, that was to be expected. These guys, like from what they've said constantly, are explorers, they're finders, they're seekers. They're all about gathering information.
One chip, one of the information chips, as you're gathering through looking at their computers, one information chip seems to hold multiple thousands of terabytes. One chip.
Yeah, we unfortunately we can do that with 21st century technology. It's just not cost effective.
Yeah. You
Still,
also notice that
rather nice.
their information banks are massive, and their navigation system is tied into their computer.
Okay, so
Their
very good navigation.
Their star maps rival yours.
Okay, so they're very good on the scanners and checking, and I mean even like taking into account like very subtle gravital fluctuations, recording that and adjusting for it and that type of thing.
You also notice that there's various different. They actually have pointed out permanent stable anomalies in their star charts.
Ooh, my yoink a record of those for myself.
Got it.
Also, how is their like anti-intrusion methods?
They had.
I'm gonna
Put it like this: they had no clue that you were coming.
Yeah. I was about to say, what anti-intrusion methods of Cyborg just beamed onto their ship like nobody's business.
Okay, so by anti-intrusion methods, yeah, they didn't have any.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I think at the very least we can agree that these ships are not up to combat with the Borg.
No, unfortunately, on some paths they are up to combat, especially when paired with another ship. And on other sides, they're also, depending on their physical combat capabilities, extremely good for resisting Borg assimilation. Borg units are not suitable for dealing with units that use, well, non-button controls. These
Yes,
all never work. They
the
would
fact
have
they've
to
got
fully...
little to no would be shot down
That's also,
in the moment.
that's also of note too, gentlemen. Check the chat. You're just now beginning to feel that.
Okay, but yes, quite literally, if the Borg were to infiltrate the ship and attempt to assimilate it, they'll get some very nice star charts, but they would not be able to operate the ship's firing controls, piloting controls, or even their shield controls.
No, it's no digital input for them to.
There's no way for the nanoids. There's no way for the nanoids to work.
But unfortunately, it would be all too easy for them to get onto the ship. You don't even know if their shield are putting straight.
At that point, you might want to ask for their hand-to-hand combat capabilities.
Yeah,
I was
I have
thinking
no
more
idea
along
what you're
the lines of
talking about.
the mental communications these guys have. If the Borg know about the mental communication, then they may want to assimilate these people and adapt that ability so that they're not reliant on technology for
I believe they've already stated that they've lost people to the Borg.
Exactly, so if they bring those people back assimilated, they could take the ship entirely.
Yeah.
It is not too much different to our own vessel. Well, sorry, let me rephrase. It's not much too different to any other vessel besides me.
Plus, we don't. If a Borg had
And
the ability to interact with them mentally, we have no idea what effect it would have on the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're a hard luck to crack, but if the Borg ever do crack the lock, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
So yes, I wouldn't advise putting these guys in the fight.
Well, they'll be well paired with any standard vessel, as some vessels can be used to weaken shields. Thermal lances, once punctured through a shield, would be decimating.
Hmm.
The Great Maker sees that we go to war. That's in response to you, Toro, when you say that.
I would advise that you allow us to make improvements to your ships if you insist on joint conflict. With your maker's permission, of course.
The Great Maker has seen forth for us to see you and to interact with you. It is no stretch
So you will.
that improvements are acceptable.
Alright then. With that, we should be able to outfit this to handle a Borg cube. Quite possible.
I don't want to cause offence by saying this, but given that your numbers are as low as they are and the Borg are as powerful as they are, I would not suggest going into any kind of combat situation right now. Even if we did outfit your ship with as much technology as we could cram into it, the risk of your people becoming because your numbers are dwindling, any conflict with anything could see your numbers sheared right down. Just a few dozen.
This seems to enrage him a bit. The Great Master has deemed it so. We must go to war.
I just give Rosewood like a look that would kill a boar. I'm staring him down with dread gaze. I just developed dread gaze.
Yep.
Also a recommendation.
I think we.
Also a recommendation, they would also make excellent support units. Their scanners are extremely sensitive to the minor details. A little bit of information to their computer technology would help deal with the Borg floating at extreme long range. Sensory and exploratory and scouts, they are well suited. They might be a bit slow to act as scouts, but upon this net structure, we ought to deploy probes and have them interact with their computers, would make them excellent intelligence gatherers and let us know where the Borg were going to be before the Borg knew that they were going to be there. Considering that the Borg use sub-space technology and are somewhat vulnerable upon arrival, being able to know where they're going to be, that little bit of advance gives us the advantage.
I'm going to meet Centurions again.
And Hawk just asked, do you think they may be able to recognize Borg during cloaking?
with what they got, yeah. Give me a few days, a day at most to work with them. I could deal with their current sensor technology to make them prepared to detect the current Borg cloaking technology. If we kept them nearby a Federation vessel, we could adapt a update patching protocol We keep them updated as we learned more and adapted our own sensor technology to deal with it, that they can be kept appraised.
And he's just, rephrasing what the robot said so it won't sound so offensive because I have a vile kind of reaction to the artificial intelligence. Fight as unison. Your ships, once properly outfitted, will see them coming. And we'll help you take down the shielding capabilities so that your lenses can steer them more effectively.
I would advise that any conflict with the Borg, your first reaction should be to turn and run. There's no shame in falling back when you need to, and
I think it would be simpler just to ensure that they have appropriate reinforcements at all times.
Deploy them in pairs. It is tactical.
What's the effective range on these weapons?
GM, what is the effective range of these vessels?
The Great Maker sees that we reach out great distances.
We're in space combat.
At least 20, at least 20 to 30 parsecs.
How's that compared to our phases?
Horribly less.
Okay, close range vessels. No, that's what we were expecting
Unfortunate. It would have been useful to be able to have them simply fire at range after we worn them down.
It's to be expected. These are thermal lancers, effective at close range.
Looks like though, with a little bit of tweaking, the range could be improved. And Justin, just to make sure you do see the chat.
I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat page.
Yeah, not right this moment, but sometime in the next couple of minutes.
Okay, cool. That gives me perfect time. I just need to go and grab a quick toilet break for myself. So it's sometime soon.
Cool.
Cool. Be right back.
Is it just the thermal lance they've got, or do they have any other kind of weaponry?
They look like they've got some small point defense arrays, a few defensive weapons, but their primary attack is that thermal lance.
Okay. About how far do you think we'd be able to improve their shields on their current power?
Right now, in terms of numbers wise, on a 1 to 100 scale, with 100 being the best, they are currently somewhere around a 40. With what they have now, you could get them to about a 55 or 60.
So it's necessary to upgrade entirely.
To upgrade it all the way, you would need time and equipment, but just with what they have on hand at the moment, you could get it about another 10 to 15%.
That wouldn't last long against the Borg, unfortunately. Not long enough, at any rate.
Like I said, we can outfit them with the biggest guns in the universe, but a ship this small, a ship with this kind of power, are people in this much trouble, I still advise retreat as the best option.
And I'm not even dread gazing you anymore. I'm just whispering in your ear. You realize they're a warrior culture. They're not going to do that.
Not a warrior culture, but they are a zealot culture. They're clearly believe that they're going to be in this fight. You're not going to dissuade them.
I just
Which-
kind of nod in agreement, and then I just sort of say, watch the Z word, but they might know what that is, and that might be offensive.
Quite possibly, but it seems accurate enough to me. But on another point, we've seen how long it takes them to fire the lance. In a fight against a couple of Borg cubes, they would have quite possibly destroyed the ship by the time it was ready to fire.
Exactly. If I might raise a point, a particular example, in the weeks leading up to the Battle of Cressy, the English were retreating from the French horde that was following them. The English got to a point where they knew they would have to fight or die, and they ended up winning a massive, massive victory. So retreat isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's needed.
Try convincing them of that.
Strategic
That
retreat
will
to
be the problem.
prepare.
We need to try and... I think the best thing we can do is convince them that they will need to be better outfitted to be involved in this fight.
Excellent. Lieutenant Commander and Science Officer, it might be worth opening the somewhat unethical division of stellar firing technology. It was briefly researched quite some long time ago. It was not put into full respect, but the thermal lance is essentially the gateway to the theory of essentially it's a fired ray that instead of focusing on thermal focuses more of the fusion that you find in a sun, therefore adding a lot more significant mass to their lances. Interesting. Alert. Alert. All personnel to report to the Basalisk. All personnel to report to the Basalisk immediately. We are status red. Repeat, we are now currently reporting status red. Alert.
And with that,
Basalisk
the
crew...
credits roll.
If this is another sodding
So-
cube,
Viewers, we have met a new race. What will become of this new race? What of the Borg? What of the Cleons in this probable Romulan incident? There's only one way to find out, viewers, and that's to tune in for episode 3 of the USS Basalisk. Come on, Google.
Respond.
And
we don't want to be live anymore, Google.
Maybe it'll finally stop.
Okay, Google, I'll sign up for Google Plus
It's
again.
not stopping. It's not stopping.
It's like Miley Cyrus.
Google said it cannot have.
Google's like Miley Cyrus. It will never stop.
It can't stop, won't stop.
oh god.
Oh no.
Well, that was fun, but it's getting
Oh, so
bloody late
Google
over
can
here.
kick Will out, but it can't stop broadcasting. Well done, Google. Slow
well
clap
done.
for Google.